Welcome to Business Barbells and Boobs. And today we're discussing a little bit more of the business side of things and maybe even less barbells and more logs and tacky. Today we have James Deffenbaugh and Lynn Morehouse. They are the new owners of Strongman Corporation. And that's why we brought them on today. How are you guys?
Great. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, super excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited we really coordinated this because I know we're all really busy people and you guys are business owners yourselves. And now you guys have Strongman Corporation, which is huge. So everyone watching this podcast is probably already involved in Strongman. So you probably already know Lynn and James because I remember I always saw your guys' face when I was at contests when I first started, and that was 5 years ago. And I know you guys have been around a long time. James is actually the winner of America's Strongest Man 2017, owner of Spider Strength Gym and Spider Tacky, and Lynn, owner of Train Strongman, and the guy behind official Strongman games. So that's just the quick intro of you guys. And now add to that, owners of Strongman Corporation, which like blew me and Brittany's mind. So we had to have you on.
Yeah, huge congrats. And it's so funny how everything's coming full circle because James and I competed together multiple times, but I think it was 2017 we competed together at Lynn's OSG. So full circle, strongman life cycle right there.
Yeah, we did. I think we did America's Strongest Man and Woman together 2017. 2017 I helped at OSG.
Did you
that was the year I
compete?
tore my bicep.
Okay, yes, this seems like forever ago. Yeah, you gave me a different kind of tacky, which helped me do my 300, my first 300-pound stone too. So
great.
That's torn in my memory. So again, congratulations. I'm sure this was in the works. So we just want to know, first off, how this came to be. And it's so exciting for Strongman because there's obviously a lot of changes that need to be made that you guys have already done. I was already on the website seeing some of the things. Strongman Corporation, how many shows a year do they put on?
Strongman Corporation as a whole?
Yeah.
I don't have that number. I believe it's around 70 competitions a year, maybe a little bit more as far as the licensed competitions. The first party shows, like the ones that we're running, are the American Strongest Man series, 2 to 3 competitions of those a year, amateur nationals, masters nationals, and the Arnold. And those are the ones we directly run. And then we also have our regional series that we try to help out as much as possible, and as many shows that we can help at as possible.
Awesome. And it was fun to see your guys' faces pop up together as the new owners of Strongman Corporation. And I was like, what? And then I was like, well, that makes so much sense. And so how did you guys start? Like, what was the initial chat with you guys? You've been thinking about this for a while. Like, how did this, kind of come to be?
So I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina in 2015. And that's, where Lynn lives in the area, and he was running the Strongman scene in the area. He's running competitions. So we started training together. We're part of the same training crew. And I would help out at some of his shows, even then. And then, over time, like he, started doing the OSG thing. I got more involved with Strongman Corporation stuff. So I was doing a lot of logistics and equipment for nationals and the Arnold. And we're kind of doing a lot of the same stuff, parallel to each other, effectively through different organizations. So we compare notes quite a bit because I think we're really able to benefit each other from each other's experience. And so when this opportunity started coming up, it seemed like the perfect match because right now we just have, there's so many things we both have. There's so many things that we could make more efficient working together. And I think that's where it really comes in is being able to run things better and more efficiently. And some of the ideas we shared just to improve Strongman in America. And that's kind of our goal here.
Yeah, just to chime in, it feels like forever, but it's crazy. It's only been 9 years since James first came down. But that concept of, improving Strongman started very much at that local level. When he first came down, I was hosting Strongman training and, he was getting involved. We've helped each other out at the different shows that we've done. And like James mentioned, as I transitioned to work more on the official strongman game side, he immediately took the state chair side for North Carolina and kept things going. And all the while, we kind of helped each other out. Whether it's borrowing equipment, can I use your trailer, or can you just run through these event ideas with me? It's always been something we've known what each other has been doing. I would say this has been in the works on the official level probably for about 2 years, where it was trying to actually get started. Maybe James can give a little bit more clarity on that. But it's something where I think our strengths complement each other really well. And the fact that we both have, unfortunately, very high standards. So we're going to push each other to do our very best. And
You
hopefully
mean
that,
fortunately?
well, right now we're pretty busy, and the concept of just quote unquote half-assing something just doesn't really fit with either of us, and so taking on even a small task turns into a little bit larger one. But no, we've been working together for a long time, and excited about the opportunity to just keep making strongman great. It's really changed both of our lives.
Yeah, and the fact that you guys have the Arnold's, I feel, I'm probably speaking for multiple people, but I feel like it's still the premier strength, strongman. When people think of strongman, they think of the Arnold, because that's where we're introduced to other sports and we have more of a fan base. I know all the strong women that we've interviewed and the people that we've talked to, the strongmen over the years, like the Arnold is where they feel like the most alive, not to sound corny or anything, but there's nothing like that crowd there. And yeah, again, I'm so excited, James. It's really cool to see you because, we've actually worked together when I've been on the media side, and you do everything. Lynn, I know you're more behind the scenes, right? Doing all the logistics of everything. Usually you're so quick on Facebook or email. If anyone has a question, you respond. I don't know if you even sleep. But James, yeah, you run around and you do like 20 jobs in one day: scorekeeping, helping athletes, making sure the scores are done. So yeah, I think that you guys are going to excel. And kind of my first big question is, what are you looking to improve? I mean, I know, I love Strongman Corporation, but I want to first hear, I'm sure you guys sat and talked about some of the goals. Like, what are some major things that you probably will see improve this year?
So this year, we're kind of first want to get a hold of everything as it's being run now. We want to get a good handle of running Strongman Corporation as Strongman Corporation, because it's been doing very well for the last 20 years. It's done so much to grow Strongman. It's grown the women's side of the sport so much. There's a lot of great things with Strongman Corporation. So step one is to get moving, keep things going as they are, and then as we have more time, that's where we'll start to try to the improvements where we can. I know, like, the rest of the year, it's going to be pretty tough for us with OSG nationals, master nationals, America's Strongest Man and Woman. So I would say you're not going to see as big of changes this year as you will next year. But we're working very hard to get as much done as we can. And additionally, like, I've been fortunate enough to be able to kind of affect some of the changes that already happened within Strongman Corporation over the last year or two. I feel like we've kind of cleaned up the weight classes a little bit, because before we had the subclass system, and that kind of when you relegate to a certain class to a subclass, like the under 200 men, under 160 women, there's a huge number of people that's their weight, and just being a subclass made nationals very difficult for them, because they had to do the same weights the class above. So cleaning up the subclass system, I think, was a good win for us. We finally had our first America's Strongest Man 90 kilo last year, and we're looking forward to continuing to grow those classes, and the underserved weight classes, if you will. And beyond that, we've already been raising the production of nationals and the Arnold. Our live stream at nationals the last couple of years has been getting very, very good. So some of those changes we've already been working on and making improvements. But now, under our ownership, this is where we can kind of invest a lot more money into what we believe in. And so I'm hoping over the next year or so that's kind of where we'll see the bigger changes. Continuing to raise the production values, continuing to make things easier and more efficient for promoters. Give promoters tools they need to run the best competitions they can run. And those are kind of the things we want to work on once while time's available.
Yeah, I think the critical
Could
thing
you?
with that, sorry, Brittany, I think the critical thing
No,
with
no, no. You go ahead.
um, what we're going to improve in a long enough time span, almost everything. But there's some priorities that are at the beginning. As James mentioned, we're in the full swing of the competition season that Strongman Corp actually hosts those events, and so we need to make sure that those are done as well as they can be for this year. And then some of the other items which are high priorities for us but not necessarily as urgent time wise, will come into play. And there's a number of those, and the top of my list is, and as James mentioned, making it easier for strongman promoters to promote their shows. And that starts from the sanctioning process to, help with sponsors, help with marketing, and things like that. But if we were to actually go out a long enough time horizon, you would see also some of the grander visions that we have. One of the things that I think James and I do well is we forecast out a little bit further. So we've got already these grand visions that are going to be probably 2 years down the road, but we're going to start making small steps in that direction as soon as we have time.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm sure you guys are sick of like, what are you guys going to do right now to change the whole entire sport? And like you said, there's been 20 plus years of history, and you guys in the background a lot, influencing a lot of those changes already. And so I really appreciate that. I'm obviously very invested in this because I'm going to doing the Strongman National Strongman Corporation Arnold this year, and then I really want to do OSG next year. So let's talk a little bit about how those things might tie in together. Are they going to stay separate? Are you guys going to work together on those things?
I mean, working
I'll let
together.
you take this, Lynn.
Yeah, I would say working together, absolutely. I've said in the past, with other countries, I specifically work with the promoter of their country's strongest competition.
Mhm.
And America's should be no different. So the America's Strongest Series is absolutely going to be one of the primary pathways for American athletes to compete at OSG, just like that is a pathway in the other countries. So that's no issue at all. James has always been very helpful and on the planning stages with OSG and helping during the actual event. I'm hoping that will continue. But the reality is, they are. I think there's a value to having the official strongman games still be this unfederated, open to everyone, online qualifier. You can be from anywhere. You can compete anywhere you want and still be able to do this world championship. So I don't foresee, at least in the near term, incorporating any requirements or something that would, maybe be a quick win for James and I, but could be ultimately a negative for the strongman community. We want the world championship to have the best in the world. And so we're not going to put any restrictions on that. But we are going to, as we bolster up the America's Strongest series, make sure that that's a proper pathway directly to the official strongman games and the world championships.
So will there be any automatic invites, or is it going to be completely separate? Like if you win nationals for your weight class for Strongman Corp, is there an automatic invite to OSG? Is that because I know someone on a forum had asked that question when I was doing some research on Reddit. So what is, I would assume not, because it's still separate in that regard, where they have to either do America's Strongest or the video entries.
I think that's another one of those where, because there is an OSG regional series this year, we need to be a little bit careful not to uh, go and extend all the invites that we might try to do in future years. And so that Strongman Nationals hasn't yet been discussed as like, is this a guarantee? But for America's Strongest this year, we will be
Yeah.
extending invites. That's already been discussed. Strongman Corp Nationals, it's possible. If we did it, it would be only, first place, just because we need to be mindful of um, not biasing the competition so much so that America has so many more opportunities than everyone else. I'm very conscious of trying to be fair with that.
Yeah, and I love that you have that, because oftentimes, like with OSG and now Strongman Corporation, it's really nice because it gives people an opportunity. Like most strongman athletes, even the best in the world, do have regular jobs or something. So there's, often time where it's like, okay, I can't do that show, but they know they're one of the strongest in the world and like deserve to be there. So it gives them kind of, even with regionals, it's like it gives people multiple chances, where a couple of years ago there was only literally one a year, maybe two max, where they could earn that title. So I think it makes it overall more competitive, and like you said, it's just going to continue to grow the sport. So I love that. I still love the video entries, that it's required. Do believe now OSG is one of the only federations that will have that video qualification to earn your way there.
We do that, and it is proven to be effective. We have had some amazing talent come out of the woodwork where it's like, wow, we do not have a presence in that country yet. This person would not have had the opportunity if they hadn't have done the online qualifier. So, in many ways, I see that as something that is going to continue for a very long time.
Awesome. I have another question that I often get on Facebook Messenger of all things, and I don't never really know where to direct people. People in the US for Strongman Corporation that want to become a promoter, what is the route to do that?
So I would email admin@strongmancorporation.com. We're
Okay.
working on the website where we have more documentation out for promoters. Just reach out to us and tell us what you're thinking. And what we do is we'll talk to you. We'll discuss like what it's like to promote a strongman competition, what the expectations are, and we will connect you with a state representative in your area that has promoted shows before. We'll be able to help you along the way, help pick events, help pick weights. We'll guide you through the process. And that's been the Strongman Corporation model for some time, and it seems to work very well. Leveraging our state representative network to help promoters, promote their first show and make sure it's a success.
Awesome. Thank you. And I love that you said you're going to have more resources for them, because promoting a show, as you guys know, is probably the hardest thing ever. I always tell people that, if you're listening, if you just compete, like judge at a show, like do something, help out volunteers so that you can really learn all sides to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
sorry, go ahead.
oh yeah, and honestly, if you're a competitor, I recommend volunteering at a show, and it's good to get a perspective on the work that goes into it, what it's like behind the scenes, because I think it gives you a better perspective of the sport as a whole, and kind of almost more what you expect to see at a competition. Like why does this happen? Why does that happen? When you help out at shows, you just understand the sport better, in my opinion.
Absolutely. It makes you a better competitor and coach, because then you have an idea
Yeah,
of like what's fair judging, what do you tell the judges before, all that. There's so much that goes
yeah.
into
And
it.
judging is hard. And we hear a lot about criticism of judges giving early down commands or anything like that, but judging is very, very difficult. And you got to cut people a little bit of slack in those cases. Everyone's a volunteer. Everyone's doing it because they love their sport. And we're all trying to make it as good as possible.
Yeah, I wanted to.
I'm gonna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
All right. I think there's a slight delay, but that's okay. I wanted to add one thing because, you know, we want to help people run their first competition because that's an exciting process and whatnot. But a big thing for me also is to really be able to be of value to that promoter that is established. They're ready to take it to the next level. Maybe they want to host a regional or a pro-am or something, and that's where we can actually bring expertise with regards to speaking with destinations, speaking with sponsors, even setting up kind of a little bit of, all right, this is literally the 7th year you've run this event. Perhaps we can, be aware of that and help so that other promoters don't put something a week before your show and then it ends up being a negative for everyone. So there's lots of ideas around that, because there are certain areas where you've got established promoters with, annual events that do very, very well. And if there isn't already a mechanism for them to know that, hey, this is coming back around, and not have potentially conflict of interest, or two promoters that both don't do as well as they would like just because of timing. So figuring out a way to be able to help existing promoters as well as get the new ones in there and make them both be as successful as possible. That's a big key thing for me as well. Just to, I don't want to be that, the cable company, only for new customers. Sorry, existing customers, you get the higher rates. That's not us.
Well, it's good because you guys have both, started at the bottom and grown your own shows and put on amazing shows. So you bring that experience there. So I love that. It's really cool to see like that the owners have like, started from the bottom and been in the community for so long. Um, but you mentioned regionals, and that kind of sparked one of the topics I want to talk about, because few years ago at Strongman Corporation, regionals showed up. And are there any plans on to change those, make those bigger, make fewer of those, more of those um, in the next couple of years?
I think our regionals have been very successful.
Mhm,
It's been pretty well received. I know the first year we had open regionals, so anyone could compete.
mhm,
Then after that, it was restricted, so you had to get a certain
mhm,
level at a local show. And I think what we found was the open regionals, we didn't actually have to worry about the level of competition not being high enough. The
mhm,
people that sign up for regionals are still the people that want to compete at a higher level.
mhm,
So I don't see bringing back like the requirement to qualify
mhm,
for regionals. It it being an Arnold qualifier outside of nationals has been very successful, because it's kind of tough when you have such a high percentage of Arnold invites at nationals. So if you're busy that weekend, then you can't go to the Arnold. That's always kind
mhm,
of a little tough. So overall, I think our regionals have been very good. I think the big thing we want to change or improve on is making sure every single regionals has a professional live stream. And that's the requirements it needs to be run like nationals. It needs to be
mhm.
a smaller, a good prep for nationals. So that's the production value, and that's the live stream and things like that.
Yeah. From an outside perspective, a regional show I've been to two, they are so competitive. They're so well run for sure, but they're so competitive. And it's really, really fun to see, because that's kind of like the transition when you see an athlete going from like, all right, I'm competitive, I'm here, but I want to go here. So they all bring their A game. And even like, I mean, the Arnold's obviously amazing, but regionals, like you really get to see some new athletes being born, in my opinion. So I'm glad that you'll have live streams, because I think it's really
Mhm.
important to kind of educate the strongman community as like, all right, who's who, what are they going to do? What are they going to bring? So I'm very glad to hear that.
Yeah. And it's really
Yeah.
cool to see the different sides of strongman in that regard. Local shows, especially like masters competitors, it's a different vibe. It's all friendly. Regionals, you get more competitive, but still a great vibe. Like
Yeah.
no matter how competitive you get, they're still your friends. You're still making relationships, making friendships last a lifetime at every level, even though it kind of presents itself differently.
I'm actually okay. Sorry if it's a little off tangent, but I want to know, James, because you've been in the scene for so long too, Lynn, you too. I actually personally feel, from an athlete's perspective, that obviously it's competitive at every level, but I feel like I made more friends once I got to the higher levels, because sometimes at like the bottom level, it's like maybe it's someone's first show, but people can be kind of intimidating. Like no one talks to you until after the first event. Like all my local amateur shows, like I remember like being scared to be friendly almost. I'm like, are people going to be mad at me? So have you guys seen that too? I think maybe it's changed over the years, but for the most part, that's kind
Oh,
of what I've seen.
yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you generally compete against a lot of the same people, the same 10 people. And I mean, there's not that many people out there that take this as seriously as those of us do. You know, you're not finding many people that you know put the same level of commitment into their training and everything else, and it's kind of like a an odd common ground that we all share, and I think that helps build those relationships. You know, and I absolutely love our pro league. You know, the pro level. And you know that's a big part of it is there's kind of a like a brotherhood and a sisterhood of our pro athletes as well.
Agree. And
Yeah.
I kind of have a fun question that I like to ask athletes. They always have that like aha competitive moment. Now, Lynn and James, I want to hear both your stories. Is there a moment when you were like, you loved Strongman and you're like, I want to run shows? Like, do you remember how that evolved?
I do, but I think James has it in his head right this moment.
No,
Um,
no, not really. Like
oh,
I, yeah, honestly, I just have always done what I thought needed to be done. Like, if at a local show, if I'm just happen to be there and the volunteers are struggling moving stuff, I'll hop in and move stuff. If I see something that needs to be done, that's where I'm at, no matter what it is. And that's kind of driven so much of my path as far as promoting goes, as far as promoting or helping at big shows. A big part of what I saw is the scoring was a lot more arduous than it should have been at nationals and these big shows. And there's no online scoring. We're waiting for a printout. And I saw that as like, hey, I can help with that. I can fix that. And then, later on, it was the same thing with live streaming. We hadn't had a good quality live stream for nationals, or at my regional show. So I bought some live stream equipment. I learned how to use it, and I started putting on live streams. So um, to me, this whole thing is kind of an extension of that. Is I see where something needs to be done, and then I'm stepping in and doing it. And that's been my primary driver. It's not that, hey, I really want to host competitions. It looks like fun. It's like we need more competitions, and I feel like I can help with that.
Yeah, Brittany and I talk about this all the time, how that's kind of a quality of a strong man or a strong woman. It's like you have a problem, and then you're like, well, I guess I got to go build power stairs now. How do I do that? So you have those qualities of like get it done.
Yeah,
And maybe strongman built that. Maybe you just already had that in you, or you just built it up. But I think that's really cool.
sure, some of both, because you see so many people in the sport that become very successful outside of the sport as well.
Yeah,
So it all ties together. But yeah, buildings also, like I learned to weld because I wanted better equipment. It's
exactly.
everything kind of follows what needs to be done.
I think
Yeah. What about you, Lynn?
I think James is he sees the individual things and goes to fix them. Where I think I had more of that religious experience on a podium. Uh, I I there's a very strong memory where I won my first contest, and I remember standing at the podium and I looked out and I saw 14 people behind a gym in the back alley, and that was the contest. And I was kind of sad. The adrenaline had worn off, and I looked around with like my actual vision, not my strongman rose colored, and I was like, oh wait, this is kind of sad. If my family was here, I don't know whether they would have lasted the whole day. And that was the moment where I was like, I think I can do better. And it wasn't a specific individual one thing, it was more of an overall feeling where I realized the only people who were experiencing this were in it. It had no exposure. There was no one who wasn't a spouse or a family member, and and that became really the driving force, because I had this moment where I was just like, this is not the world's strongest man experience that I had watched on television for 20 years. Um, I think I can do better. And that began, in my first show was 2013, and just kind of grew from there. always with this mantra of, we all kind of fell in love with this world's strongest man experience, picking up these odd objects, the camaraderie where, big grown men can hug, things like that. And so I never had until later some of the desires for specific events or very specific things to change. I really just wanted to give that same experience that I had watching World's Strongest Man to more people. And but when you were talking, Brittany, about is there that one moment, there absolutely was for me. And it's still very vivid, and I think about it and it's like, yeah, we've come a long way from there.
Okay, I have another completely random but fun question. What question should competitors avoid at rules meeting, or do you have any advice for what they should do soon? Because we both have been in 3-hour sessions of rules together.
I try to write out the rules the best I can before competitions. I wish they would, I wish they'd really read the part about briefs.
Okay.
That's very specific, but it's tough. You have to draw a line on what is a brief and what isn't. We've had the Ray-Ban warm pants have been a part of Strongman for decades, and they're tight neoprene with a little bit of spring to them. Then slingshot briefs came out, and they are the same thing, just a tiny bit thicker. But they're obviously a far cry from powerlifting briefs. So we ultimately decided, okay, we're going to decide if it's stretchy, you can wear them. If it's not stretchy, you can't. And communicating that has been very, very difficult. At the Arnold rules meeting, it got tense. It was actually bizarre. It was like written out beforehand. We tried to describe it the best we could. And it was, just bizarrely tense. What can I say? So read the rules and learn about briefs. And that's my contribution.
I think for me, and this might be just in the nature of the different rules meetings I've had to host, it's like, I don't care what's under your shirt at all. If you wear a grip shirt under your shirt, go for it. That's one of those. It's like, it's under your shirt. I don't care, but it gets asked every single competition. Can I wear this under my shirt? It's like, yes. I don't want to look under every athlete's shirt. It does not. I don't even want to know if there are some magical log pressing aid under your shirt. Don't tell anyone. I don't want to know about it because I don't want to enforce it. I don't want to have to do a shirt check for every single person. Lift up your shirt, that kind of thing. It's not going to work out well.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, just had to throw the rules in there. And I guess my last question, Christy, if you have any more, is what can we all be doing? That's something I like to ask everyone. So whether you're at the amateur level, you're a pro, what is something right now to anyone listening we can go ahead and do to improve Strongman Corporation, Strongman, get more involvement, OSG, everything?
I would say number one, go to your local shows, offer help where you can. And it's not just during the show, like the day before, the setup, the tear down. People work very hard to put on these shows, and anything you can do to help with that and help promote, share. If you have a local show in the area, share it. Tell your friends, get people involved, and that's where people can start helping from the start.
Yeah, I was going to go down the exact same route, which is, it's amazing how much help appears at the contest because there are people who want to help, but they don't sort of let you know ahead of time. So if you're going to be in an event and you're supporting a friend or a family member, and that you're going to be itching, you don't want to just sit there the whole time, tell the promoter. They're more than likely hoping to find more help. And I think the stress that a promoter goes through the week before would be so much more alleviated if all the people that are willing to help on the day of just let them know that a week before. It would just ease all the concerns. So yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. Volunteer, help the promoter out. If it's their first show, they're very stressed out. If it's their 15th show, they're probably still stressed out.
Yeah, and I think that is the perfect question to end on because I'm like, I don't have a question that's better than that. That's something I'd want to be answered, but we appreciate your guys' time today. Is there anything else that you think that would be helpful for our listeners to know of events coming up or how they can get involved or where they can even find you guys?
Obviously, strongmancorporation.com. My email address is james@strongmancorporation.com. Lynn is, of course, lynn@strongmancorporation.com. We have nationals coming up in a few weeks, right in Greenville. So if you're in the area, please come out. We know some local people that might be able to tell you the cool places around town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I add something about nationals? Because I was just, I have a couple clients competing in it. I think it is so cool. So I'm a middleweight woman. The middleweight woman, that like press series you have, the fact that the log is 200 pounds is just, it's so cool because years ago you would have only seen that at the Arnold. So I always like to talk
Mhm.
about how, the evolution of strongman. So that right there, seeing that in the entry form, I was like, because my client was nervous. I'm like, trust me, everyone's nervous. That's a big log press, but
Yeah.
something to strive for. So I'm excited for nationals. Yeah, it's exactly 9 weeks. So Chrissy's been looking strong. Everyone's getting ready. So thank you guys so
Everyone's
much.
looking strong.
Yep, I'll make sure that in the show notes I put the links for the Strongman Corporation social media website, the admin at Strongman Corporation. Promoters, please share this. And again, remember to just kind of give back to Strongman, or if you're thinking of getting into it, I always say just go to a show. The internet is going to be your best friend in terms of finding out where it is, because every state does have something, even if it's hard to find. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you later this year, and I hope you have a great day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.